Hi, everyone. In this week's reading, we look closely at curriculum, the hidden curriculum, and tracking. Those are three things that really shape our students' daily experiences in both obvious and embedded ways. Together, they reveal how schools can either reinforce or disrupt social inequalities. We usually think of curriculum as kind of the stuff that we do, we teach, our standards, our units, we use pacing guides. But the reading reminds us that there's also a hidden curriculum, the kind of the unspoken lessons students learn just by being in school. These lessons communicate expectations about behavior, norms, values, and whose knowledge matters. And because the hidden curriculum reflects that, it can easily reinforce stereotypes and inequalities unless we push back. This ties directly into tracking. Tracking appears to be a practical way to group students by ability, but research shows that it often sorts students by race and socioeconomic status. Students placed in lower tracks tend to receive less rigorous instruction, face fewer expectations, and also have fewer opportunities to grow. These placements show how students see themselves and how teachers see them, creating long-term academic and social consequences. They may feel that maybe the teacher doesn't want to teach them because they're unteachable, or they'll have a bad feeling, about who they are and so forth. So this ties directly into tracking. And Bill Bigelow's article offers a compelling alternative through anti-tracking. He shows what it looks like to build an untracked classroom where every student engages in meaningful, challenging work. Instead of a rigid assessment, he uses role plays, simulations, and creative tasks that allow students to participate in ways that highlight really their strengths. His approach centers on equality, flexibility, and a student voice. Tracking, in his view, isn't just about removing levels, it's reimagining how learning happens so that all students have access to rich, relevant experiences. Garcia and De Lisovoy take the conversation even further. They argue that under neoliberalism, the hidden curriculum doesn't just prepare students for work, it prepares many of them for surveillance and maybe at some point even some kind of punishment. The concept of school time mirrors prison time, describing how schools increasingly regulate students' bodies, movements, and emotions. Strict schedules, constant monitoring, zero tolerance policies, and the pressure of standardized testing can make schools feel like a system of control than a place of learning, especially for students of color and students from low economic communities. These practices feed into the school to prison pipeline and reflect broader school inequalities. Standardized testing connects all of this. Tests don't just measure learning, they shape it. And so when test scores become the priority, instruction narrows, creativity, inquiry, and culturally relevant learning, everything gets pushed aside, and all comes down to those testing scores. And because those test scores are tied to accountability systems, they often reinforce inequalities by labeling certain schools and communities as failing, even when those labels reflect systematic issues rather than just student ability. When we look at curriculum, hidden curriculum, tracking, and testing all together, a clear pattern emerges, and that's that schools can unintentionally reproduce inequality through everyday routines. But the reading also shows that educators have real power. We have real power to disrupt these patterns through untracking curriculum, having a curriculum that honors students' lives and experiences. We can create learning environments that are more empowering for our students. For my outside source work or source reading for this week, I looked at a 2025 article report titled The School to Prison Pipeline from the Criminal Justice System, which aligns almost perfectly with Garcia and the Lisovoi's arguments. The report breaks down how zero tolerance policies, constant surveillance, and police presence on campuses sometimes continue to push students, especially students of color, out of the classrooms and into the justice system. It mirrors the author's idea of school time, in which school routines begin to reassemble gel ones. So the report also highlights how students are suspended or even arrested for minor behaviors, how overcrowded classrooms and high-stake testing creates pressure, and how these practices fall hardest on our lower communities, income communities. Overall, both readings and the report make it clear that equality isn't just about what we teach, it's about how the entire system operates. And as educators, we play a crucial role in either reinforcing or challenging the system. Thank you.